Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Brothers and Sisters podcast for this March 11th, 2021, coming from Baltimore, Maryland, and the Bay Area. Tonight's show is going to be great. While we have no guests, we're going to address the elephant in the room as far as the country and maybe the Western Hemisphere is now concerned when you include the Royals, and that's cancel culture. So we'll include Dr. Seuss, Speedy Gonzalez, Pepe Le Pew, Piers Morgan, and anything else that comes up. Actually, you know what? And we were talking before, we'll have uncancel culture with Stacey Dash also, because it looks like she's making a plea to be accepted by Black people again. So stay tuned. And actually, how you normally get divvied up segments, I think we can just do this all in one segment. And for those of you who tuned in for the continuing legal history of Black personhood in front of the Supreme Court, it'll be on the write-up of the podcast. We actually recorded that and then lost it. So it's what it is. So I figured we should start this by giving kind of sort of a definition of cancel culture, maybe a box. And then we'll take it from there, take it piece by piece. When I guess cancel culture, how academics are defining it and media experts. Hat tip to Mr. Woodland. It's basically ostracization of someone out of social and professional circles, whether it be online, social media, or in person. That ostracization due to something they may have said or done is what's known as being canceled. So whether that's restriction from social media, whether that's boycott, whether that's whatever, that's cancel culture. So I guess we should start with, I think the one that may be the worst in my opinion, as far as how ridiculously overblown this is. Well, I guess I should maybe start. What do you guys think about this? I know you've heard about it. Is it a real thing?
Not really. Not to me. I don't think anyone ever really gets canceled. I mean, they may have a time where things are uncomfortable. People don't like them as much, but the news cycle moves so quickly. Eventually people move on to another thing to cancel, and then...
What about T.I.?
Is he going to get canceled?
I think so. He should.
Well,
for him.
So
for those who don't know,
if the allegations are true, then he should be canceled.
I mean, that's where I am. For those who don't know,
I mean, those allegations are felonious.
Yeah, for those who don't know, T.I. and Tiny are embroiled in. Well, do you want to talk about it, Sean?
No, there was this Instagram group I'm in, and they sent this like 5-minute video in the beginning. It's talking about T.I.'s voiceover at T.I. talking about protecting women, and then it's this whole produced like 5-minute video. It's like not reenactment, but like I guess they hired young actresses and they had someone voice over like them detailing what happened to them in their experiences with T.I. And then there was a number to call at the end, like if you've also had this done to you or experienced this with T.I. and Tiny, like call this number. I was like, damn, like this is real for you, bro. Like,
there's cancel culture is one thing, but if you've committed a crime, heinous crime,
that's what needs clarity. What is T.I. and Tiny? What are they being accused of?
Of drugging women and.
There we go. Somebody filled it in.
Underage women.
Yeah.
And there was also one where he went to he busted into some woman's house like 3 p.m, and they beat up her ex-boyfriend or her husband and put guns to the kids. And I was like, damn, man.
Like, oh my God, I didn't know.
Yeah, there are accusations of drugging, trafficking, weapons. I mean, I don't know if you break the law and like people don't like it, is that canceling?
I mean, essentially, breaking the law and losing your freedom. Did you cancel yourself? Like,
I feel like all of
you. Well, like R. Kelly was also canceled on top of being arrested and paying for his crime. So I feel like you still can be canceled.
Yeah.
I haven't like bumped R. Kelly music. Not that I was like R&B guy to begin with.
Yeah.
Kanye's been canceled to me.
Yeah.
Red hat.
Yeah.
But but I guess it doesn't matter when you're that big, I don't.
That's like my issue with it is like generally people who are canceled, like most of the time they're so rich or have benefited so much from like whatever they were doing that, like I kind of don't care. Like you're not famous anymore, you're not going to make money anymore, like you've made enough, you've been famous like long enough, like it doesn't really, you know what I mean? People are canceled before they're born. Like Black children living in East Baltimore like don't have a chance to do anything. So the fact that no one likes you because you decided to do or say something, like big whoop.
So it was explained to me that I guess the idea is that there's a lack, there's a feeling of powerlessness, and that the way that the culture is headed, having certain ideas and certain beliefs will get one quote unquote canceled. Even
But that's what the right is mainly on, right? Because they want their right to be racist and say their shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So if one was to say like, I feel a certain way about President Trump or whatever, people are saying like that's a way to get yourself canceled. Even though like there should be nothing wrong with saying that you support the president. I think this is a natural offshoot of kind of small, albeit I would think insignificant transfer of power, right? Balance of power, right? So now more people have a say in the marketplace as far as what is and what is not acceptable. So if you're a country music star, right, and you're calling people, the N-word, like you can have a temporary boost in sales because racists are gonna like that, right? But eventually, when your music is refused to be played on radio stations and record companies aren't gonna distribute your stuff.
It's like the dilemma Tekashi has. He doesn't have the support of the traditional, outlets. So he has to rely on, antics in his own little world he's created around the internet and his social media platforms to get recognition.
Is
How
Tekashi
long
being
is that?
canceled right now?
Sustainable? Would you say?
Yeah. Is Tekashi being canceled right now? You can make an argument, right?
He is.
I think he should be.
I mean, he's been canceled by the traditional rap community, or in general, because of the snitching and all that. But there's a whole nother sect of the population that doesn't give a shit about that stuff and are just in it for the the train wreck or the ride.
Yeah, or people. I mean, I think I'm in a smaller group, like because I don't care about him at all. Like I can't cancel. I didn't know that he was on. I didn't think he mattered that much to even get canceled, but
he also had some sexual indiscretions also that he almost powered himself through, but that kind of sort of led to the beginning of his canceling. The sexual indiscretions actually led to the snitching, which led to the canceling.
Oh.
Yeah.
How the sexual indiscretions lead to the snitch?
So remember he said that there was nothing, and then it ended up not only being sexual indiscretions, it ended up being with minors. And so once he lied about that, it ended up being about, okay, this dude isn't what we thought he was. And that's when he started cutting people out of his circle, remember? And then once people started getting cut out of his circle, that's when he became more vulnerable, which it was a whole snowball effect. And so that
didn't spark the federal investigation. That was
nothing legal. I'm talking about just with the idea that this guy isn't who we thought he was. Like, even if we had second thoughts about liking him or supporting him before, he was a money machine. But now, we're talking about sexual acts with young girls, and dudes were like, remember, they was like, that's not what you told us.
Yeah, even the gang members were like, hey, that's not what he said.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if it's possible to be canceled, given what Autumn said before. Like, I'm looking at a list right now. They're like, these are the celebrities who've been canceled. And I see like Ellen DeGeneres and like Jimmy.
What about
Fallon. Fine,
the Toronto from Mandalorian, right? What she's
yeah. She got canceled. Like that's a huge loss, right? Going from,
like she literally lost her job on that show.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like probably like a spectrum. Like there's extreme behaviors that lead to people getting canceled, and there's like things that are more minor where it's like, do people really need to go off and get upset about that? It depends.
What's an example of something minor that you think people have gone on with?
I'm trying to think of something. For example, and I wouldn't say that this is a person.
And major minor is all relative too, right?
Yeah, it's relative. Like some people who may say something that comes across as insensitive and they don't like it. So like maybe there are times where people were trying to like you're not gonna cancel Cardi B, but I think people have gotten like upset with her and like wanted to cancel her because she'll make comments about like,
she'll say anything.
Yeah, she'll say anything. But it's like that's who she is. That's how she became famous. When I think she posted something on Twitter about like purchasing an expensive bag, and she went to her fans and was like, should I get this? It costs blah 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 dollars. So then everybody's outraged because it's like people are losing their jobs and they don't have this and they don't have that, and you talking about a bag, like that's something that I would put on like the more minor side of it. Like she doesn't deserve to go just because she says little things here and there. But if we're talking about crimes, if we're talking about blatant racism, we're talking about things that are like just we all know these things are just not okay. Like those to me are things that are more extreme, and I for one think people should face social consequences. Everybody thinks they should be able to do whatever they want to do and still be liked.
Okay.
And it's like, no, that's not how it works. You deserve to have people not like you when you do certain things, in my opinion, and so deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, like access to certain platforms and outlets it's a privilege, you don't you don't have a right to that shit.
Exactly.
I want to
come to shove, you can do your own thing. There's an internet.
And a lot of these people will anyway. There's so many people who are canceled supposedly, but they have the means to go off and create another platform or do whatever they want, and they'll still have their fan base.
I think exploring the major minor issues, I think that's where I guess the acrimony comes in, because some people are like, yeah, that should be canceled, some people aren't, right? So you have educators, right, who are talking about like trans athletes, right? That's an issue. And people who have, teachers, administrators have been fired for not being able, some of it is straight up, homophobia, transphobia, but others of it is literally like, I don't know how to talk about this topic, right? So in the one sense, there is that kind of what's major and what's minor. But then we talk about, Pepe Le Pew, right? People like, he's a cartoon, like you can't cancel him. Where other people are like, it's a pretty rapey cartoon. Like, what are we losing if like you can't fuck with Pepe anymore?
Yo, he shaped my whole interaction with women, yo. I hated that motherfucker growing up. I was like, leave her the fuck alone, yo.
I was just saying
if a woman doesn't show like interest in me at all, I'm gone, bro. I'm not fucking hopping around. I hated that stuff, yo.
There are a lot of people. I'm in this forum who, and it was a surprise. Like it's like an NBA forum. People were like, "Oh man, why people fucking Pepe Le Pew?" And then there were so many other dudes like, "Nah, man, I knew back then you can't fuck with chicks like that."
Yeah, I was a kid and I was like, I was like, yo, stop that shit. He don't want you.
Yeah, it used to infuriate me. I used to be worried about the cat. I used to be concerned. I used to get very angry. I hated Pepe Le Pew to the point.
And what's the message behind that? Like, however she reacts, just keep going. She'll give it.
Yeah, my mom would tell me to stop watching it because it would make me so angry. She'd be like, Autumn, just turn it off. I'd be like, all right. But I was like 6 years old, pissed.
Yeah. So they wrote him out of Space Jam, and people are like, oh, like the new Space Jam movie is coming out. People are like, oh, like, you got to go after the creators and stuff like that. I'm like, those people are dead. Like, this is all like not
that great of a amalgamation. Like, why do we care about overly aggressive, like rapey cartoon character?
Rodent.
Like, come on. The person who wrote it is gone. It's not like there are any kids out here like, oh no, I can't watch Pepe Le Pew anymore. Like they don't even know who he is. They don't
no idea.
Yeah,
Who
they
the
don't know.
fuck it is?
I was reading that like a lot of things that we read as children had a lot of like racist like tones and or
Oh
like
yeah.
things like that, but they were written out before we were born. So like a lot of our favorite things, we don't even know like the downside of them because what was it? The Willy Wonka. So the
Yeah.
Oompa Loompas, they used to be pygmies out of the heart of Africa. To like 1964.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang.
There's there are even write-ups
And
about
that's
the cartoons at the time, like literal write-ups in like media blurbs, like in like the 1960s, like the
And that-
1950s, that are like, this is a stereotype. Like this is like, and it's like back then they were like, this shit is bad.
and that's
so,
the thing.
You know, it didn't matter.
Like I was reading one of our readings, like our country is unique in our relationship with, it's not like the media in general, but like entertainment content, and that our relationship with it is like innocuous. We think it's like harmful, and we don't really analyze the ideology behind that shit. And it's like, it's been all white men pushing their ideologies on us for years. We're just like, entertainment is just a fucking show, and like it shapes so much of our, you know, perspectives and how we relate to each other, and we don't even acknowledge the shit, you know.
They were going to pull Speedy Gonzalez, and like Mexican Americans were like overwhelmingly like, bring Speedy Gonzalez back.
No,
like,
I was done with Tom and Jerry when
not
he was chasing Jerry and he dropped him in the ashtray, and then Jerry came out, I mean, in blackface, was fucking tapping and shit. I was like, I'm done with this. I used to love Tom and Jerry.
And then a lot of those cartoons, like it was like the Mammy character that was like the maid that was like taking, you know, making sure things were around the house or whatever. If you look for those tropes, like cartoons and like animated things, like have been super racist for like a long time. In fact, it makes it a lot easier to transmit the
It's more
message.
palatable,
Yeah.
Dress it up.
So I think a lot of the quote unquote canceling is probably the right thing to do, but we're talking about upsetting norms, and you know
that's racism in general. Just take some vile shit and try to serve it up with a spoonful of sugar.
The problem. That's why we don't ever make it strive, because people want to keep it normal when normal's not healthy.
Yeah, the norm is the problem.
The norm is typically the problem, but people are just so caught up in tradition. Well, we've always done it this way. You've always done it wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Get uncomfortable and
try
start
something new.
Yeah.
So we had the other big one, at least recently, was Dr. Seuss, right? Where this is the Dr. Seuss Foundation, like his estate, who are like, these 6 books are racist, we're gonna pull them. Like, not all Dr. Seuss books.
Okay.
Yeah, just 6 of them are like, these are some pretty racist images. Like, we don't need to sell these 6 out of the fucking 50 that are out there, right? And people it was like, oh my gosh, like,
which ones in particular did they remove? Do you know?
The ones that no one has ever read.
The ones that no one, they're very.
It's not like they removed green eggs and ham, or like, you know, 1 fish, 2 fish. Like,
I thought the star-bellied Schleeches was a good commentary on race and the pointlessness of it. And shit.
It actually was.
He's
so I
got.
hope they keep that one.
Well, he was super liberal, but
I don't know what that one was called, but it was like the ones with the star bellies where they go in the machine, and then
the ones that I saw, I didn't even recognize. So it's like, we're not losing anything, and if it's a private organization deciding, hey, we don't like this, so we're gonna remove it.
No, I don't think that they don't like it.
They don't like
most of the imagery was like anti like Asian, and so now that's becoming like a big thing, and people are like assaulting.
Yeah, I agree. It's not that they don't like it; they just don't want the heat. They're probably like, ooh,
and they're
you know
also
what? They don't want to be canceled.
They don't want it representing them,
and they want to get ahead of it instead of finding it.
They even show movies from like 10, 15 years ago. They put up disclaimers. Like I was watching Rush Hour, and it was like, this views, you know, it has like views representative of the times, and it's not, you know, reflective of anything. You know, I'm like, damn, you know, shit.
All the biggest, there's 6 books. They're not big. Elegant's Pool, On Beyond Zebra, Scrambled Egg Supra, The Cat's Quizzer, and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street and If I Ran the Zoo.
I've
Those
never
are
heard of
thick.
them either.
The zoo.
I've
Nobody,
never read those.
nobody cares about any of those books.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Yeah,
Except
no-
for racist people who want to continue to be racist and don't have anything else to do. So they're like, wait a minute, you're taking away our history. Well, the thing that should have never been there in the first place, yeah, get rid of it.
These
And
were
let
all-
everybody know what it used to be, but don't publish it anymore.
These were also the same people that when they turned the Lorax into a movie, like boycotted it and wanted it banned because it had like an viral fascist message because it was talking about how we were destroying the world. So I don't think they're mad necessarily about canceling things.
They're just like
Yeah.
cognitive dissonance personified. Like just
Yeah, yeah.
I just
The
want
same
what I
people
want.
who
Why can't I
Blue
have
Lives
it?
Matter and then threw fire extinguishers at the police. Same people.
Yeah, I mean, I think I figured cancel culture would get a tough review amongst this crowd. I mean, we're Black, so like people are talking about entrenched organizations and establishments against them based upon like what they view to be something they can't control or nonsense. That's pretty much been our experience in this country, and you have to.
We got way bigger fish to fry. We
Yeah,
have things
exactly.
that like actually matter. This is what happens when you have no natural predators.
Yeah, right.
You don't have
It's like,
anyone. You don't have
what's
any
the matter
concern.
about?
Your life is
Yeah.
super. It's clear to me a person is privileged by the things that they get upset about. Like,
What
on.
am I mad about? That was
you really
that.
mad? People like they like to be so mad. They really like to, they want to have a struggle.
Any
So-
excuse.
They want any
Yeah.
excuse to feel
Yeah.
like it's like
Yeah, if you don't have one, you'll find one.
Yeah.
Right.
they want to be like just
Pick a fight if they have to.
exactly. They want to struggle so badly. Oh my
So
god.
are we saying cancel culture are the product of people who are bored and don't really have any problems? I'm
Not
fine.
always. Not always. I think it's a case by case basis.
I can't think of one case of cancel culture where that like it's moved me to been like, oh, that's wrong. I'm like, normally there's
Yeah, I mean,
I-
some of it, the
Sorry.
motivation behind the people who are initiate the canceling, especially in the less serious cases, it's kind of like some look at me type shit. I'm a
Right.
warrior or a hero or this cause or so on and so forth. But
And it's also because people have social media and, the keyboard to hide behind. People love to say things whenever they know they're not going to actually confront someone.
so, but so we say the less serious things. So let's say you are a media personality with a large platform who went out on a date with a woman who rejected you, and then she met a dude that same night who she ended up marrying, and you can't let it go. Like, is that canceling? Or
If
is
you're
that
not-
like a
it's more than
legitimate, like,
yes.
If you
'Cause I
continue, if you bash that woman,
Yeah, that's a cancel.
people have the right to not want to be with you, and you need to deal with it and keep it to yourself. Write it in your journal.
Does
he
not
just
have a right-
lost all his professionalism. He's supposed to,
Yeah.
he's supposed to be like the lead fucking anchor. He's like, I don't know, he just went complete
those-
Never
white
been
boy.
really
For the
professional.
audience, if you don't know, we're talking about Piers Morgan and his reaction to the Meghan Markle Harry Oprah interview, where he claims that he was canceled for giving his opinion and that's his job. He literally is a commentator.
His opinion is
about-
always racist.
That's where I was.
No, when he got up and walked off set. That's
Yeah,
when he
that's
canceled
where-
himself. He
Yeah,
quit.
I
he
believe
did it to
that's what
himself.
he does.
You canceled yourself. He left. He walked off set. He quit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Like the one time he was being confronted with his own the reality behind his own behavior and his actions, he could not handle it and literally
he can dish it out, but he
stormed
cannot
out.
take it. He cannot take it.
He said he
Which
said
is typical of most dudes like him.
Exactly.
You can go ahead.
They want to be able to say whatever they want to say and be awful, but still be liked. How dare you?
Consequence
say
free.
something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't talk back to me. Like you can't. Talk back to me. You gotta pick one.
Is there a relationship? Or is there symbiosis, or are they the same thing, or are they completely different between cancel culture and quote unquote being woke? Something else that I hate when people say, I hate that term so much and I don't hate many things. But when people say woke, that just means oh, like you're paying attention to like other cultures and people outside of yourself. Like that's a good thing. But most
Not all-
people look at it as
to me.
sort of a
It's not always good.
to give me an example.
Some people who are woke are just like a walking nerve. They just angry about everything. It's like, okay, breathe. Like, for example, like there's an episode of The Golden Girls where they're wearing mud masks, and it's been removed
Yeah.
because people think it's like blackface. And I'm sure someone woke would be like, get that off the TV. But it's like,
Yeah.
you look at the context.
Yeah.
No, it was clearly a joke. They were not in blackface. Like if you watch the episode and you being woke sometimes takes things too far, and they don't even get comedy.
So there is
They
something.
mess up jokes. They mess up things that could be entertaining and funny. It can go too far. Like being like as a Golden Girls fan and all the rest of the Golden Girls fans, we're like, no, leave that one in. That was not racist. There are other things they've said on the Golden Girls that should be taken out, like the fact that Blanche is a member of Daughters of the Confederacy.
Yeah.
You want to take out the funny mud masks?
Well, it obviously ruins someone's sensibilities, right? And that I think that's where a lot of the stickiness gets in. Like, if someone is offended, is it offensive?
It is offensive to that person, but if it's not offensive to the overwhelming, like it depends on the group. Like I think most Black people are not offended by that episode, but then you have like a subsection of the wokes who are.
Piers got like 40,000 complaints in a day, right?
Yeah, Piers has a long running history of being a problem.
Sure, but I think that's why you hire him, right? That's why you have him host your morning show.
Yeah, but then he's like a loose cannon. He goes too far. Now you gotta. The thing that worked out for you now it's not working out so much. You gotta.
So he can't. So we come to the conclusion that he canceled himself because he walked off, not that the pressure that he was getting from his co-workers and the
still not canceled. He is a white man. He's going to be fine. He's got people who still agree with him. There are people. Racism hasn't gone anywhere. Piers Morgan can come up with a podcast and say the most horrible things ever and make tons of money. He's not canceled. He's just not liked right now. But he'll lay low. He'll go away for a minute.
And he can always retreat to the right side of things. I mean,
exactly.
Granted, their entertainment content, their talent is all
it's
not
different.
good to the left.
Yeah,
but it generates money.
Piers Morgan will always have food on his table. He will always be able to fly wherever he wants to fly, and
this is why I don't care.
Life is going to be fine. He's just not going to be liked. It's such a thing. It's a big thing where people, it's like you are upset that people don't like you anymore. You have everything else.
Mm-hmm.
He's just mad that people don't like him. Well, that's your fault.
Well, that happens. It definitely happens. Can we cancel? Is the royal family? Can they be canceled? Are people too big to be canceled? Like there are companies that are too big to fail? Are there people and entities that are too big to be canceled?
Yeah, I mean,
there shouldn't be, but
yeah, but that's like that. It's like that's an institution, so you can try to. But it's going to take a lot of work. It's just like racism. Racism should have been canceled a long time
That's
ago.
an institution built on racism.
Exactly. So if racism isn't going anywhere, and an institution is built on racism, yeah, they're not going to be canceled. I mean, maybe there might be some people who looked at them favorably who will change their minds now, but it's gonna
and that has an effect because they do care so much about perception. I mean, even Prince William denied that they had racist bone in their body. You know, the usual fucking line that they spout out when some shit happens.
Why don't they invest $0 in PR?
In the room, you know.
We're not racist. I was like, that's your response? We're not a racist family. I was like, okay.
Okay, fine.
I don't know what to do now.
You may not be racist, but you have the power to stop racist things from happening.
And like they have any inkling in their mind of like a definition of what racist, like I loathe Negroes, but I'm not racist. You know what I mean? I'm not feeding them to alligators and shit. So,
Man.
People think if they're not calling you the N-word and burning crosses on your
Bingo.
lawn, they're
Bingo.
not racist.
If
And
they're
it's
not
like,
actively committing a racist act, they
Bingo,
don't
yeah.
understand that they can support a racist system.
You can
Right.
support a racist. You can say that you can say that your family isn't racist, but if your grandfather's 6 sisters all married Nazis and like you're cool with that, there's probably some racist, you're racist adjacent at the very least, right?
you come from
Like, yeah.
racism. You come from racism and you haven't done anything to acknowledge that or stop it from continuing.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a hell of a coincidence. It's like, yeah, all my sisters married Nazis, but you know, shit happens. Okay.
Hey, you know, people have the right to marry whoever they want to marry. They do. And that means they're racist by
Yeah.
default, depending on who they marry.
So I guess though, is this even going to be a thing? Is this like a passing fad, like a passing trend in 2021 and a pandemic kind of slowed down media landscape? Or is this something that people are really going to take arms against or whatever, take a fight against? Because it seems to me that like it's fleeting. As much as people say they're against cancel culture or whatever, like Autumn pointed out, like no one ever really gets canceled. Lindsay pretty much said she doesn't care. Like I'm trying to figure out why this is such a big thing, and I can't get my hands on it. Like,
because there's nothing to do.
Right?
People
I
are
don't
bored.
think it's a new
Nothing
thing,
to do.
though. I don't think it's a new thing. It's just that we're all so like interconnected now, and like so many people can see things that instead of just like the 20 people from your town who knew you did blah 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 like don't like you right now, like the whole world doesn't like you right now. And as the world becomes flatter and we're all more just like into each other's shit, it's gonna get worse. But it's not new.
I agree.
Yeah, it's not. I think I saw one that really interested me. 2 white professors talking about how consistently the worst students in their class are Black. Like they consistently have the lowest grades. And
Why?
now
Is it because you're their professor?
they're under pressure.
What grade did they teach?
Well, so it sparked a conversation, right? They're under pressure from I think it was they're in Georgetown. I think they might have been at Georgetown. They're under pressure to get fired. They've been suspended or whatever. But one side of it is those are just the grades in their class, right? Like they're just saying that it's consistently Black students who have the lowest grades. It sparked a conversation about Blacks in higher education, which I would have loved to talk to Karad about tonight or others. And how we're put in positions that we might not be ready for, that we might not be equipped to handle because of societal factors, including public schools, families, et cetera, et cetera. But it's those professors are probably going to get fired for just being like, hey, I consistently look at my grade books, like the Black students have the lowest grades.
But what's their bias that what's their bias? If they
everyone has one, right? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So are they grading them harder? Are they setting different expectations? Why is it that they're able to zone in?
So they're saying that they aren't setting expectations, that they just can't meet the grade. This is like a growing thing, right?
But what are the grades? Like, I'm interested in how things are being graded. Like, is this being graded based off of like multiple choice tests, or are these essays? Because if it's essays, then I'm like, I don't know.
I mean, it's one of those things. And then I was literally racking my brain trying to find out like any instances of cancel culture where I'd be like, oh, that person shouldn't have been canceled or whatever. And like, I really had to find like, I really had to dig deep into it. I thought that was one, because I think that was a legitimate conversation. I just think, they just sounded like 2 racist, on its face, they just sound like 2 racist white people. Like, why can't these Negroes do work? But like on here,
maybe they were curious about it.
It's like, Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, I know some people might make the argument, like, oh, maybe they're curious about why, but
Mhm.
Having a deeper discussion,
but
trying to
if you
figure out.
but if you care, then you will ask those extra questions. You will go to the administration and say, look,
Yeah.
I am noticing blah 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 is happening, and my
Mhm.
African American students have lower grades. They were able to get into the university like everyone else, so they
Yeah.
deserve to be here. So what's going on? Because you never know. I mean, I'm sorry,
That
like if
led
you
to a
are
discussion
likely to
of
have some struggles that the white students don't have. So
Right on campus, even.
yeah.
what it takes for you to get to school, to have time to study, like all these different factors that come into play when it comes to outside circumstances, like those things could be impacting things. Or it
Did
could
you
just be
fucking
that
eat today?
I still don't believe them because they may have
I
like
believe it.
6 black kids in their class, and out of maybe like a class of 20, and 2 of them had bad grades. So now it's the black kids always have bad grades. I just don't.
I don't
I'm not-
buy it. I don't buy it at all. And I don't know anything about Georgetown, but like I went to an HBCU and those professors didn't play any games. They were very hard on us. They made sure that we knew our shit. And they would always make the comment, like, if you're in my econ class, you're going to learn econ. Those
Mhm.
students over at Florida State, they're going to coast. But you, no. You're going to learn over here. So it's not that we're incapable. So I just wonder, like, anytime there's something going on with a particular group, like, come on, look to yourself first.
Yeah, there's gonna be a
And
distinct.
look to the students, like ask them what's going on.
Right. Just be like,
If you're that
hey.
concerned about it.
Yeah, 'cause I don't think they said it from a place of concern. I mean, I would have to
But-
get all the information, and I don't have that.
Yeah.
That tells me they weren't concerned. But it's like, if you are concerned, that you'll ask questions because you you care about your students. Or maybe they just want to be like, hey, I told you. Look, everyone who gets bad grades in my class is black. Like, do you know they're black when you're grading?
Yeah.
Is that part of the reason why?
Do you have blind grading? Yeah, that's another.
Yeah.
That's another.
Are
Another.
you using the fact, like, maybe a student, and I'm really concerned about what's being graded, because I know how professors can be. They will lower a grade because you show up 5 minutes late.
The bias
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah.
You know,
no,
you're just not
for
there.
sure.
Like, why are you not in my class? Why are you not showing up? Look, if the student gets the grades, they get the grades. Mind your business.
LaQuisha. I don't like that. 5.7.
Nah.
Yeah, you're
talk
always
about
late.
that.
Paying attention to certain things, like paying attention to your grammar more than they would in another school, because you're like, black people can't write, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like things like that it's like.
I definitely
And I
support
also still don't believe them, because I know how, like, black people's work ethic, when you're in a place where you not feel like you don't belong, but where people don't feel like you belong, like, you're not about to just.
What school was?
Georgetown.
Oh yeah, that'll happen there.
I'm like, maybe like 1 or 2 students, but then you have other students that are not black that are failing your class too. So why are you just honing in on
Exactly.
Yeah.
those people?
Yeah.
Right? It's probably more of them in total who are failing than the two black
Probably.
kids and shit.
For sure. I think they're saying that when the probably 1 to 2 black people in their class, like those 1 to 2 black people are always scoring lower than the class average. I get something like that. But again, that goes into a
Still
deeper
scoring
conversation
lower.
about
If it's lower than
education.
the class average, that doesn't mean they're at the bottom. Like, who's at the very bottom? Like, just because you're a little
I
lower.
think the language they used was consistently perform below average. I think that's the language that they use.
There's a whole bunch of people in college that consistently perform below average.
Because
Like,
they
if you look at the amount of people who are performing below average,
Yeah.
how many of those are not black students? Like, yeah, people are just.
Yeah, we'll definitely revisit. And then I think the second one, where even though I disagreed with him, like, I don't know if, and he didn't get canceled, he just came out with I'm sorry, was Roland Fryer, when he had the police shooting statistics, and he was like, oh, I don't think there's that much of a difference between black police interactions and white police interactions. Like, he got destroyed. And he was like, literally, for like just presenting his findings. And then, of course, I always thought, in academia, like, you make a claim, somebody disputes it, like, they dispute it. And like, that's what eventually happened. But at first it was just like, and he's the only tenured black professor at Harvard, right? So Like he was like people thought it was kind of incumbent upon him to validate, what we all feel to be true, what some of us know to be true. He was like, hey, these are my findings and this is what I see. And he got destroyed. He got
What
worked
kind
to the
of
point where he was like,
professor is he?
Yeah.
econ, but he did a study on racial inequality in police shootings. And it was like, there's a little bit of a difference, but there's not that much of a
That's not
difference.
his job. That's not his job.
Yeah.
That's not his job. Like you don't have a PhD in statistics. That's not your job.
That's
Right.
true.
What are the
That's-
economics of that? Of
Yeah.
race shootings?
So, yeah, it was as a matter of fact, it was the top viewed article in the New York Times in 2019. Most notable
Yeah,
part of the
that's
study was the
not-
finding that there was no evidence of racial bias in police shootings, which Fryer called the most surprising result of his career. In his analysis of shooting in Houston, Texas,
why you
Black and
can't-
Hispanic
no,
people are no more likely to be
But
shot than the
This
white
is why you can't always rely on data.
It also gets really qualitative too, because there are a lot of white people. So of course, a lot of white people are going to get shot by the police. But then you have to look at things that like how many unarmed white people got shot by the police. Like it's not always
Yeah,
just.
it goes to the quality of both. I think that's part of it, Lindsay. So
Right? White people be getting off
everybody's-
charging with knives.
Yeah,
and
I want a
guns,
list of the
throwing
white
shit at
people that get
and
shot,
not getting
unarmed white people that get shot for doing absolutely nothing. I need a list because people are like,
Uh-huh.
oh, there's no difference. I'm like, send me a list of those people because I don't know.
like the scale as far as even acts of aggression go, how it's deemed by the police on white people as black people, it's so drastically different. Like you open your car door, oh shit, and then fucking, but you can get charged at them with a knife if you're white, and they'll calm down and try and tase you.
Yeah, they'll try to de-escalate. They just come in like on fire. when
Which
it's one
pisses
of
you
us.
off because you know they have that capability, and it's just like
They have the capability. but
discretion is
they're-
never used.
Can we
because
cancel?
I think they're inherent. A lot of them are inherently afraid of Black people,
Sure.
so I don't think they know how to use that discretion.
Like I was talking about our media earlier,
Why they
it's
should get
pumped in. It's been pumped into not just white people, but everybody since we were kids that the blacks are more dangerous. Like on every television show, any type of media we experience.
Yeah, and
it's
who's
like-
writing the shows? Like,
and
who
we
are the
don't
writers?
acknowledge it. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Who are the writers? Exactly.
We have no fucking media literacy in this country.
Yeah.
Is it possible, I guess, to look at these things from a perspective of I disagree, but you have the right to, or is it all or nothing? I think that's what this boils down to.
You can present your findings, and a person can
I'm
look at your
talking about
findings.
generally, all of this, yeah, not even just this study.
Well,
like
yeah, all of it. You can look at it from the perspective of everyone has the right to think how they think, say what they want to say, and they have to accept that other people have the right to respond to what they said however they choose to. And you can't get upset about a person's response to what you said unless you earnestly meant well. But a lot of times people don't mean well when they're saying what they're saying.
So can you say I supported Donald Trump and not get canceled?
Of course.
Agree with that. No, if your support of someone,
It
Yeah,
implies a certain thing, Quasi.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, you can get your shit canceled. There are people
Yeah.
who own private businesses, like look at Hollywood. Like if you any affiliation with that shit, it's like I don't have to fuck with you. Like
Yeah, but from my
Exactly.
perspective, you're never really canceled. Canceled means you
Was I-
canceled.
yeah, it's all relative. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
like a blanket statement. It's just like your prospects go down a little bit, or you fade away
So
slightly.
we talked about Hollywood a couple of times. Was Isaiah Washington, was he canceled? Was James Woods, has he been canceled?
Isaiah, in some ways, because I think it's affecting his money.
For a while he was. I think he might be.
Yeah, he's
getting
on Pussy
more-
Valley now.
Yeah.
He's getting work again, but probably his career is not going in the direction it probably could have gone in had he not said the awful things.
Yeah, the trajectory it was on is definitely changed drastically. Well,
Yeah,
you should have
but
known, like black man, you're gonna be the first to get canceled on a slip up, but
Yeah. But I mean, like, that was his fault.
If you
So
don't
we're
walk that
saying he was
landmine
canceled.
carefully,
Say whatever
your
you
shit's
want.
gonna blow up.
So we're saying we agree he was canceled then. So it is possible to be canceled.
If you're black, yeah.
He
you
was
can
canceled
be.
before cancel culture. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
cancel culture wasn't even a fucking thing when this
But
happened.
I don't even think
Or
that's
when he did
cancel
this.
culture. That just means you got fired because you were messing up at work, and now you got to deal with it.
Yeah, you were an
That's
aggressive
life.
black man at work, and you should know better. This is a corporate
To me, that's
environment.
just life. And in general, what black or white, you should not be saying the things that he was saying. But it's like, come on, should have known better.
There was an NBA player who was playing video games who, in the heat of the back and forth, said, I got you, you fucking kite. And he's been banned. He's been banned from the NBA and fined $50,000.
In his
Is that
vocabulary.
canceling?
He plays in Miami.
Yeah, he does.
Why is that in his vocabulary?
Yeah.
Exactly. Why is that
He
something
said he
that
didn't know what it
comes
meant.
out of your mouth when you're angry? That's never.
His claim was he didn't know what it meant.
Mind
He
you,
said, right?
mind you, this is also the same person who refused to kneel for the anthem.
Like motherfucker, you said it
Support
because
Black
you
Lives
know what
Matter,
it
but it's not a racist. We
What
said
is his name?
Myers
Myers.
Leonard. As was pointed out to me, he has two Jewish names too. It's pretty funny.
What's his name?
Myers Leonard.
Myers or Miles? Myers.
Myers.
Wow.
Okay, I mean, again, like,
Peggy, so basically,
really-
all he said, he violated no rules on the books.
that
It's
just
that Autumn. It's like that classic, like it's like a character clause that he violated. or whatever,
Oh,
like
okay.
they're saying that,
it
like,
makes me wonder,
Like,
like,
basing on his character. Not
when it comes to
necessarily-
being
Yeah.
canceled, like, don't you have to be like super important first? Like, does anyone really know who this guy is? All like that? I don't know. I don't play
so that's the argument with
I mean, I'm
cancel
not-
culture, though.
Well,
Like,
haven't
You don't have
I
to
mean,
be
he's a
super
member of the
important.
team under contract, Autumn, and he's not anymore. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I look at getting canceled as like more of something that's placed in like
So he
the realm of
signed.
people who are a little more like.
I think he signed a 2-year, $12 million contract this off season. So they're literally banned him while they're trying to figure out how they can get rid of him because they can't just cut him, right? Because he's going to have a legitimate claim. They're like, okay, you said this. We're
Yeah.
firing you for performance. So there's no evidence anywhere that there were any performance issues, even though he's not great. So he would say he's
You're
already
signing
lost.
contracts.
He's lost 3 endorsements. They're trying to get him out of his contract. He would say he definitely got canceled.
Yeah, yeah, I think that might be a good example of someone who is canceled because unless he has another skill.
and that's the thing. He doesn't.
His
His talent won't allow for him to be uncanceled. He's disposable because he's not that
Yeah.
fucking good to begin with.
Right,
It's like, yo, we don't need this headache from a motherfucker like you. If you were Luka Doncic or somebody, then you might be able to, we might be able to let you
Yeah,
slide
man.
after this dies down, but he's not worth it.
There
yeah,
was
so I guess maybe the less that valuable people see you, the more likely you can be canceled. I don't know.
yeah, so that's what I was saying. Like people were saying that I think what is working this ginning this up is the fact that non-important people are like worried about being canceled. It's very much similar to people getting stimulus checks and worried about like their taxes going up. I'm like, if you're receiving a stimulus check, you're not making a lot of money. This is coming from somebody who's happily waiting for his stimulus check. Like you're not making. If you're getting a stimulus check, you shouldn't be worried about your tax rates or capital gains taxes or anything like that. You'll be fine.
I just wonder if people like are aware of their status. So, like for example, at my job, I'm just a little worker bee.
Mhm.
I know I can't say the things that other people can say in meetings who have a higher
Yeah.
status than I have. Because I'm not as valuable at the company. So I'm just wondering, like people like him, it's like, come on, you're not one of the really big names, or do you?
But
No.
also, he
But,
used a keyword like sports, music, like Jewish people, they like run the world literally, but like they really run that type of stuff. and like for him to like just like what? It just
Yeah,
doesn't-
Miami has a healthy Jewish
Even in your
community too, right?
vocabulary, like that's mind blowing that you get angry and that's the word that comes out.
Like you learned that in history class or watching like a movie about the Nazis. Like that's
Right.
not
Where did it even come from?
Or your parents say it all the time. You grew up around people who don't
You're
like which we
Yeah.
probably have other like very racist words in your vocabulary as well. I'm sorry if you say that word, you definitely say the N word.
Yeah.
You say a
And
lot.
again, this is the same dude who refused to kneel for the anthem, refused to support BLM, all while adamantly claiming that he wasn't a racist. Same guy.
Because his parents probably taught him, look,
I didn't think he was a racist.
we don't burn crosses. We're not racist.
Yeah, exactly.
We
That's
have
what-
black
that's what it
friends,
is.
but
Like, son, you never lynch nobody. You're
We
fine.
didn't lynch
Don't
anybody.
worry
We're
about
not
it.
racist. Yeah, exactly.
and people who like a lot of people don't know what racism is, and it gets on my nerves when people who,
Oh, he's not black.
if you're not black,
I thought he was black.
oh, I just
No,
know.
no.
A lot of people don't say that word. I knew he wasn't
No,
black.
yeah.
I
black
knew he
people-
wasn't black. We don't
Wasn't
say
saying
that.
that word.
Yeah, black people aren't really
so
trying.
confused.
Say
Like,
that.
so confused.
No.
Like how
Black-
is this
black-
man out here calling people a gay?
That was addressed a while. Black, we aren't
If
dicing
you
white
accuse a
people up
black
in the
person
middle.
of using that
Yeah.
word, you are lying.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
do not-
exactly. You are lying.
That is
We
a
are
lie.
not
Never heard a black
we're
person.
not dicing white people
That's
up in
why
the
I've been so
white
confused.
people overall, all
I
of
knew
them.
it was a white boy.
Jews, Christians, Muslims, all of them. Taoists, Buddhists, any of them, of any religion. It's not, oh, we're especially mad at you. No, that's not how black
We
people
don't do
get
that. We
Yeah,
don't.
we
None
don't
of,
do
yeah, exactly.
down. No.
People, we don't say that. I know who says that.
Exactly.
That's why I
Exactly.
have an image of this guy.
That's
in my
one. It's that was one of those things that like when the riots were going down this summer, it was like, oh shit, like somebody tried to bomb the CNN building. It was like then they were like try to be BLM. They were like, come on,
No. We don't
that's not
know.
that.
We're not
No,
doing
that's not that. We're not doing that.
We're not
Nice
doing
try, but
Yeah,
no.
no, exactly. And they found the guy. It was like 3 white guys. It was like, yeah, of course they were. Like, nobody black is looking to hunt down CNN and bomb it. That sounds like some white frustration. to me.
Not our. No.
That's not our battle.
Not at
So actually was worried about getting good substance out of this. We're at like 50 minutes now. Did we squeeze everything out of this that we could get? Did we leave? Oh, I didn't talk about Stacey Dash. Why y'all
I was
canceling
saying, what's
Stacey
up,
Dash?
girl?
Yeah, why y'all canceling Stacey Dash?
Crawling
She
her way
wants
back.
back in. She wants
She
back in.
He wants to be with money resides.
She apologized wholeheartedly. And I took it to heart.
Was
She
it
said
hard?
she said that they
You took it to heart. I gotta see
I
this.
took it
about-
to heart. She
I
said
got
that they tried to portray her as an angry black woman and that she's more spiritual nowadays.
What?
Oh, because
No.
And
No.
that her Trump support is something that she's ashamed of and she's sorry for.
She
No.
gotta give
because
us
there's no check involved. She's a grifter just like him.
But how do you know she hasn't learned something? Can people learn
Who
something?
wouldn't,
It's
who
fine.
wouldn't accept an
See,
apology from
I'm
all
with you,
states?
People can learn something, but she owes us.
There needs to be a lot of penance and a lot of
I
action.
was gonna say, what kind of penance you
Everything
guys
that you've
want?
done and
She needs
said,
to let us into the minds of a black conservative. That's what she needs to do. She needs to give us all the notes. That's what we need out of her.
Well, what was her excuse? Like, what did she say? What was the reason?
Yeah, why was she
So-
doing all the stuff she was doing?
So she said she was off killed. Oh, there's Sean's got it up right there.
Okay.
You know, I was the angry, conservative Black woman. And at that time in my life, it was who I was. And I realized in 2016 that anger is unsustainable and it will destroy you. And, you know, what people don't know is that I made a lot of mistakes.
We know.
We know that.
What do you mean we don't know? That's all you did was make
Put me
those weren't mistakes. Those were intentional, girl.
that
Let the woman talk, Autumn.
I don't hear.
I'm coming to Pikesville.
I don't. And he's not the president.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give the president that we have right now a chance.
Yeah.
Okay,
Fair
so
back.
it's gonna flip flop.
Come on,
Okay.
ladies. Come on, ladies. Let's
This is a
date
hard
the
no.
basics. No.
No,
Hard
I
no.
feel like she's getting a pass. I feel like she's getting a pass. I feel like if she lived differently, she would not be getting this pass.
Exactly. I was like, Quasi, are you allow it? She's a pretty black woman.
That's what she's getting. She's using a pretty privilege. You already know. We
Yeah.
We already know what it is,
Little
right?
tissue,
Like, that's
little
what it is.
tissue.
Yeah.
Yeah, but exactly.
I
She
thought
wants
we
me
were
with
leading with
tears.
that, right? Like,
All right, I
that's
saw Mo
obviously
Money
what
like
you
2
do.
weeks ago. Yeah, she's getting
Yeah.
a privilege pass.
Yeah.
Right. And let's not forget that she's an actress.
She's certainly an actress. That's true. That's true.
So
But
she could be performing earnest. I was
Nicole,
wrong.
Nicole asked if
Like
could she have learned her lesson. Like, I think she did.
that.
What from that let you
No,
learn her lesson?
she didn't
this
learn a
is
lot.
Nicole.
About learning a
She hasn't
lesson.
been booked. She hasn't been booked. That's the problem. She hasn't made no money. She hasn't been booked because they know that we not going to watch that.
Bro, she wants to go where the money is. And I mean,
Money
okay,
reside.
I mean, I don't necessarily believe her, but shit.
let's work under
Good
the
pass for
assumption
me.
that she is being truthful and that she has learned her lesson. Okay. Well, someone who knows that they messed up and acknowledges that they messed up, they should also know that the next step is to take actions to prove it. So fine, if you really have learned a lesson, if you really do mean it and you feel badly, cool. Show us.
That's what she's saying. Let me show you,
Yeah, that's what
BET.
she said. Nah.
TV1, let me
Right.
show you.
But show us,
Or
but
your
we don't have
actions.
to give you a check. No, show us in other ways. Why don't you show up at some Black Lives Matter stuff? Why don't you stop? I mean, if you really care, you're not going to care about the money. Because you
She
really
need to go talk to homegirl. What's the girl's name out of that was running for 7th district?
Kimberly Klasick.
yeah, they're homies. You know they're
big on-
BFF.
Reach out to those types.
Kim,
That's her agenda right now.
Lindsay, Kim Klasick is worried about the number one issue confronting America right now. The issue
Yeah.
that we discussed, cancel culture. Yes, that's the number one issue facing us right now. According to
Wow.
Klasick.
Such a, like,
That's the number one issue.
Yeah,
we're
that's
such
the number
a
one issue.
vapid, shallow country. Of course, that's the number one issue.
People focused on the media and that's it. Like
Yeah, that's the number. If you are cancel culture is going to bring us to our, you guys didn't know that? Yeah, that's the number one issue facing every American today. Cancel culture.
Yes. I'm so concerned.
I want to know what Mike Jack did to get back in y'all good graces.
Who is that?
Michael Jackson, he was a singer.
He was a
Nothing.
He never really got back into my good graces after I saw that documentary on HBO.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
he makes me feel it makes me feel uncomfortable listening to certain songs.
You
So I
still
have this,
listen to
and
Mike
I think that's like a personal thing. So like in my head, there are certain Michael Jackson songs. I mean, I grew up loving Michael Jackson. So when I hear his music, it still does bring back like nostalgic feelings of like childhood and stuff. But because of the information I have, certain things make me uncomfortable. Like I'm not uncomfortable listening to songs by the Jackson 5 and Little Michael Jackson.
Mhm.
But when we start listening to some other things, then I'm just like, oh no. Like it hurts. It's like, dang, Mike, really?
Did we find ourselves rooting for OJ? What did OJ do to get back?
Did he get back?
Nothing.
Did he?
Is he
I don't
back?
know.
I don't know.
A
No.
lot of black people were cheering.
We
for
rooted
OJ,
because
cheering for OJ.
it was like the first instance where we saw it happening on the other side where one of us like jerked the system. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was
I remember
Right.
Sasha Michaels saying that in 9th grade, Sean. He was like, this
Same one
prison
over him
system
being
isn't
black.
racist. Which black person got off? I was like,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah. But again, I think these are people like you have to, I think a person's ability to be canceled like by another individual has to deal with whether or not they care. I don't care about OJ. I never have. So he gets
And-
canceled. Great. If he doesn't, okay. Like I'm not thinking about him.
I believe it was 1972 or 1973. Sammy Davis Jr. pretty much did the same kind of thing Stacey Dash did. Like,
Yeah, I heard
kind of
that on a
sort of
podcast.
apologized to no one in particular, but it was obviously
Boing,
aimed
boing,
towards
man.
black people,
Malcolm
right?
Gladwell
For
talked about
supporting
that
Richard
on his
Nixon. For supporting Richard Nixon, he was like, it's really bad. He's like, it
What is
was really
Malcolm
bad.
Gladwell's podcast called? He did a whole episode on Sammy Davis Jr.
Oh yeah,
And
he stole the fuck out for sure. But then he was like, this is bad. This is my fault. And I don't know how black people will view him. I'd have to ask my mom.
with Sammy Davis Jr., wasn't it like one
Sammy let
instance,
back in?
like one instance of doing something and then saying, "Oh my gosh, it was wrong"? I think that's a lot different than being deliberately harmful over and over again, like Stacey Dash has been. Like she's just
Year after year.
yeah. And now all of a sudden you're laying low because you're realizing that these black people who are conservative.
You have to
And
go
probably, in
hard.
my
You gotta be
opinion-
about that life. Yeah, you can't.
Well, no,
you
not
can't
only that. I
false
think,
it.
They don't make their money off black people. She does.
No, they don't. Bingo, Lindsay. Exactly. So you gotta go hard because your audience who you're appealing to are white people.
and then
So
they
you
don't
gotta,
realize that
you got a
they are
Paris Denard it. You
still-
got a Candace Owens it. You gotta
they're
go
still
hard.
replaceable. Like these white people
Yeah.
still, all you do to get their approval, they still don't like you. You're still going to experience racism with them. You are replaceable. You will get swapped out very quickly. And they're starting to realize, like, dang, I went hard for these white people, and now they're being racist to me too. I think she's
Oh, but the rewards are so sweet though. Look
But
at y'all
they'll
man
stop.
Van Jones.
but they'll
Man,
stop
living for white people now and reaping the
Wow.
reward.
eventually. He's gonna lose.
What
Eventually,
did
they're
Van
gonna
Jones
swap
do?
him out too.
Huh?
They're gonna swap him out too.
What
They
did Van
swap
Jones
them all
do?
out.
What did Van Jones do as far as what? Other than the tacit Trump support?
Oh, I wasn't aware.
He just walks
Yeah,
the line.
yeah.
He kind
I thought he
of
was dating
He
Kim
wants-
Kardashian. I was like,
That's
okay.
what I'm saying. Yeah, that he's gonna end up reaping a reward for.
He's dating
Downtown
Kim
white people.
Kardashian already.
he's dating who?
That's what I heard. I don't know.
That's what the word is.
Oh.
That's what the
Wow,
rumor
man,
is.
already.
Wow.
That's what the
I just
rumor
heard.
is. The rumor and the fact of actually, it's been going on for a while supposedly, and fueled the breakup of his marriage. Working
Him and
together
Kim
on the criminal
Kardashian?
justice stuff. Yeah, they got working together on the criminal justice stuff.
Oh.
Van
I'm
being
gonna
a
say with Kim Kardashian wanting to, like, I guess make more of an impact in doing this criminal justice stuff. I could see, like, look, I think her mom is a mastermind, and I'm sure she was like, look, now that
Oh, look at
Kanye-
that shit-eating grin on his face.
yeah,
Now that
look
Kanye-
at Van. These
No, I'm
white
playing.
people- Van, these
Thriller,
white
when Michael
people
Jackson
love
looks
you
back
Exactly.
and the eyes are glowing.
Yeah. Trump is my
No, I'm sure
president.
Kris Jenner was
Ah,
like,
that guy.
him right there. That's your guy. Kris
Yeah.
ain't stupid. She told her
Yeah.
daughter, look, your next move, okay, get Kanye. It didn't work out.
Child.
Yeah.
Mommy got you. Mommy knows
That's
what you
pretty
can
much what it is. They haven't gone public, so to speak, yet, but that's what neither of their camps are denying it. I don't know what that means. I don't speak Hollywood parlance, but
It just means they're
It
not
means like a-
commenting. They're not going to say yay or nay because they do want to leave room open to later on say that this is a thing, or later on say it's not a thing. So they just want to keep their options open on what they can say in the future.
yeah. No, what did Van do to get back in people's good graces? I know my homegirl on The View wasn't having it at all.
Yeah, no.
Again,
What's her
did he-
name?
I don't
She-
know. Again, I don't like Van Jones is not a person I care about because I'm not. I don't care
And then-
about wishy-washy, flip-floppy people.
And then on BET, Angela Rye got him too. But yeah, Van seems to be in y'all good graces. What did he do?
Who is y'all?
Who is y'all?
Who is y'all?
I'm
Y'all
talking-
is because
So
I'm
Van
not
is
a member
good.
of y'all.
No, good. That's what I was gonna say. So as long as Stacey doesn't get back in, Mike Jack didn't get back in. That was good. OJ didn't get back in.
You gotta already be in to come back. Most of these
Mhm.
people, like no one that you've named was in for me except for Michael Jackson. And
Mike Jack
even
was
with
in.
that, I have uncomfortable feelings about.
OJ was in the hood. OJ was in
Well,
South
no,
Central.
I think it's a case by case basis based on person. Like I've
Yeah.
never cared about OJ Simpson ever in my life, and I never will.
OJ and Mike Jack lived for the approval of white people. and then it turned on them, and then they had to come back.
And that's the same with Stacey
Dash is out
Dash.
of
She
here.
was living for the approval of white people.
Yeah,
It's very clear, and now it's
Yeah.
not happening anymore. Well, it's not that it's not happening. I think they just don't care about her anymore.
Candace Owens ran her spot. She's a little younger.
Irrelevant. They need a poster child. They don't need more than one of us.
And they
Yeah.
swap them out consistently.
swap them out, yeah.
Eventually, Candace Owens is gonna have.
Because she goes harder too. She goes way harder.
But Candace,
Yeah.
like Candace has her moment,
nothing
but
to
trust me,
lose.
there's a little Candy out there who's younger, and she's probably looking at Candace Owens, seeing how she did it, and like, okay, I can do that, but I can do it better. And then they're gonna love her, and she's gonna get
Absolutely.
switched out for the new little, whatever person is
Token.
gonna take her place. Yeah.
Candace is already in. She already got this for all it's worth. I didn't know
She
her
might
husband.
team
was
up.
good.
She might
I
get
didn't know
another.
that.
She might get another little buddy and bring her on. Then she'll finally have a
Ah.
friend, and maybe she can get her hair done.
She's got a late night show.
Stop.
She just needs to leave it alone.
No, I always hear the joke that she clearly doesn't have any Black women who are her friends or that like her because look at her hair. Like nobody's willing to do her hair.
Right? Nobody
Well,
reached out on Instagram like, sis, I got you.
But who's
Well, I
gonna
can-
have?
I can
Who's
answer
gonna have
that.
Candace
That
Owens?
means nobody fucks with her.
Yeah,
I can
the
answer
fact
that. I
your
can
hair
answer
looks
that.
like that means no Black women fuck with you.
She's disgusted at what Black culture has become, and she blames Black women most. So that's why, yeah, she probably doesn't have any-
Of course you do, sweetheart.
Of course. Oh, I'm sure. Well, then the reason why she'll never get canceled is because so many Black men agree with that as well. So
She does have a small Black male following. I've
I'm
noticed.
sure she does because they love. I mean, not
I was
all,
like,
obviously, but Black men love to blame us for everything. So,
I was like, what is this? I was like, it's
Quasi,
definitely
in your
most
words,
happy.
y'all love to blame us for
It's
everything.
most happy.
Y'all.
I think we
Y'all
all know where I
Black men.
stand on these people. Man.
That's rule number one. Don't
Definitely
refer
has
to
like
Black women as y'all.
Right.
There's a Candace Owens, Tariq Nasheed like cross following. It's
I'm
actually-
sure.
Yeah,
And
it's
that
actually-
cross following is misogynoir. Like, let's hate Black women together. Let's all form a community of hateful Black women who just ruin everything with their smart ass mouths and opinions,
Yeah, she doesn't
pointing
like.
out things that are wrong that we don't want to acknowledge are wrong.
She doesn't like where you guys have led the culture. That's what she said. I don't know.
Well, I don't like where she's led hair care. Let me stop. Let me stop being petty.
This was fun. This was good. We got like a legit hour out of this, and it kind of sort of went everywhere. So I'm gonna be interested to see how people will respond to this because it wasn't really focused. We kind of sort of just went.
I think a lot of people like that. I mean, I know
Yeah.
podcasts I listen to, like I like
Yeah.
structured ones, but then I also like the ones where people just start talking
Flow of
because
conversation.
it feels
Yeah.
like you're just listening to your friends talking, like a conversation on anyway.
And that's the old format that we had too, where it was just like, killing the breeze or whatever, just, talking, just so you're talking, whatever. We're at like an hour 7 now. We can still talk. I'm just gonna stop recording
Okay.
because I don't think we're gonna cover anything else, are we? Maybe I'll keep you. You know what? Psych. I'll keep recording. So
Okay. And you want to chop it up. If anything, it gets good to you, then you can just insert
that's
it.
what I have to do. It's like if I stop recording, I'll know what I have to work with. If I keep
Or
recording, I'll
even do
probably say
outtakes.
good stuff, but I'm creating more work for myself.
Or you
So
can
like-
take things and add clips
Yeah.
to the YouTube feed, like
I've been playing
our
with that.
conversation on, whatever.
Yeah, I've been playing with that too. That's good stuff also. But yeah, no, Candy, she has a late night talk show. It's gonna be on the same thing that
What
the
channel?
Carano's on, Ben Shapiro's thing. Ben Shapiro has like a production company.
I don't care about any of these people. I don't even know who is Ben Shapiro. Like,
Ben Shapiro is he's the guy who thought that WAP was a medical disorder and that he's never given his wife WAP before and didn't want to.
Oh,
What?
okay. That's
a
problematic.
medical disorder?
Yeah, his wife's a doctor. He said any woman who's getting too lubricated down there is a medical disorder. It was pretty funny.
Eddie
Pussy should feel like number 12.
man
sandpaper.
said that
So,
never.
That's what
Ever.
people were saying. If it's not dry and sandpaper, it's
Right.
not good. Yeah.
I like good
Yeah.
old Park.
Gold chain,
Medical
paper.
disorder.
Yeah. And so he obviously got crowned by that.
And
He
he's
does have a
obviously not
thing that I
the
use.
producer of movies. So obviously gonna fucking suck whatever they do together.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, he's very smart guy, right? But at the same time, like very conservative, very Jewish, very like traditional economic in that mode. But he's made a ton of money just being that, contrarian.
Yeah,
Like,
not many
congratulations.
super talented artists on the right.
Man, he's not talented, creative at all. He's just a smart guy that like is like, oh, I can take this conservative lane and make it happen. And he graduated from college at like 19. He graduated from Harvard at like UCLA at 19, and he went to Harvard Law and graduated like 23. And so like he's just been, I'm conservative, and so like that's like his lane. He's like, I grew up in a liberal Jewish family. I'm from LA and I'm conservative. Yeah, he's got production company money now.
If it's working for him,
rescuing racists.
Okay. Go off, sis.
He's rescuing racists and making movies and TV shows with them. Well, I guess Candace Owens isn't a racist. She's like she'd be like a Sambo because she considers herself an authority figure, right, in the Black community. Yeah, so I think she's a Sambo.
Black community?
Yeah.
She's nobody's authority figure.
Yeah. If you ask Candace Owens,
care about what
you ask Candace Owens, she will 100% tell you she's an authority figure in the Black community.
How can you be an authority figure in a community that doesn't even listen to what you say or support you? Like,
she has white people every day telling her that she's a leader in the Black community. Why wouldn't she believe that?
Because it's not a reality.
In a bubble and somebody, like in Get Out, somebody needs to take a picture of her.
Yeah.
Like reality again, girl.
The Black conservative community.
Maybe, but like those people,
they don't like her. They don't like her either. They didn't like her after the Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd stuff.
Oh, yeah. They blew her a new one.
There are some Black conservatives who are still have reasonable outlooks and values.
They were just like really Black person thinking about themselves.
I really think that Candace Owens is a grifter, and she's doing what she knows can get her paid. Like any of us, if we decided, hey, I'm just gonna start, saying negative things about Black people.
Yeah.
Like we could get paid off this podcast if we just decided to flip it and be like Candace Owens. People would love us. Well, white people would love us, and we would make so much money. But then we have to leave Baltimore.
They're telling it like it is.
We couldn't be here.
We would have to leave 25th Street. They would be breaking my windows and shit.
I had a homegirl, well, not even homegirl, an acquaintance that she was paying undergrad. She went to Howard for law school. So she goes to Howard for law school, and then like her second, third year of law school, like she runs for office in Maryland, loses, and then like she waits like a cycle, like kind of sort of disappears, and like 2 years later, just comes back as this arch conservative, and we're like, what happened to you? She got all sorts of backing and money from the Republican Party. She's still lost. Like she's on the Speakers Bureau now. She's got searches, and she's like, yeah, like,
opportunities.
They made, and it's the same shit. It's like, I was made fun of by Black people because I was successful and smart. I was like, you're great, I know you.
That's not even the reason. That's not a thing. That is not a thing.
It's not a thing. It's not a thing.
It happens sometimes, but
it's not a thing.
Any Black person who says that, like, oh, they made fun of how I spoke, and because I grew up around white people, and because I this and I that, that's not true unless
that's like that Jason Whitlock shit. Black women never had sex.
Jason Whitlock's another one.
Hate them all.
But
Jason Whitlock is
that's BS.
Like have those sentiments. Like even if you did have those sentiments growing up, or you felt like something like you were treated unfairly, by the time you get to like college, like people become smarter. Like if you've been to college and law school and you haven't figured out that that is not actually it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have to, not just get over it like it being in a harsh way. Like I know what it's like to be made fun of by other Black people because
everybody's been made fun of at some point.
Everybody gets it. And I'm sorry. Like once I got to an HBCU, I was nervous about it. I was like, dang, am I gonna be accepted? But then because people are older, more mature, they have sense. They're like, oh, Autumn, I like her because she's a genuine, cool, whatever kind of person. I would get the little jokes here and there about, you know, my voice or like where I'm from and certain mannerisms, but it was never like Black people don't like me. I knew like I was cool. Everything was cool. I made friends and that was that. So if you're having those problems consistently
through college, through law school, like you might be the problem.
Exactly. Like, what are you doing? If people don't like you, you're saying that Black people don't like you, but a lot of times there are Black people who are like, oh my gosh, the other Black people don't like me. And I know that person, and I'm like, white people don't like you either. It's just easier for you to become friends with white people and have like shallow friendships and stuff. And I'm like, white people don't like you.
You probably think that they're your friends.
And they don't like you. I know people like that where I've had white people, like when I was in high school, I had white people come to me and be like, what is up with her? Why is she acting like that? I'm like, even white people are confused by your Black behavior.
Most of us don't have the time to be hating on other Black people. Most of us are concerned about white people. Like now it was like, oh, like we take the time to hate on this individual Black person because they're smart or the way they're taught. Of course, there are going to be some people, but most of us are like.
And most people, even if most people will look at a person who is like, you know, say you grew up in like a rough neighborhood and you're the smart kid. A lot of times people are going to look at you and be like, no, you need to keep your ass out of trouble because you're actually going to do something with your life. And people are going to look out for you and be like, no, don't fuck with him or leave her alone. That's so smart, good grades.
Funny you a little bit.
Estoy cansado.
That's actually a really good idea for it. We could do a whole
like to be victims. People like to be victims because they don't, I mean, some people are just martyrs. It's always woe is me, the whole world's against me. It's like, no.
Well, and then some people want an excuse to be hateful or mean to others.
Yeah.
Because they did them wrong. So
yeah.
That's actually we actually could do an episode on this also. Bring in some Black conservatives, see if Liz will come on. I mean, I've tried for answers. Like she doesn't really give me a straight answer, and I'm like, okay. Like,
there's no straight answer.
They don't have one.
Because if you give a straight answer, it'll the whole world will come crumbling. Right. The whole point is skirting the truth because if you tell the truth, like you're not money anymore.
Actually, we could have brought her up for canceling. I think a lot of her classmates had issues because she always led with I went to Howard, but you know, I generally now hate Black people. So like, it's like, why you with that?
It's crazy.
Why do you lead
with your?
There's so many schools really you went to Howard and got made fun of for being smart. There's so many. Howard is full of smart ass Black people.
Yeah.
There's a campus full. Like if you want to find all smart Black people, you go to the HBCUs. If you want to find a huge group of smart Black people, just hit the campus.
Yeah, I think she lost in like 2016 maybe, and then like came back 2018. It's like this arch conservative. Like
we ain't vote for her. That's
Barack Obama wasn't born in this country type. But I was like,
shit. So wait, you said she went to law school?
Yeah. She went to
the loans. The loans will make you do crazy. They don't make you think about doing some crazy shit to get out of having to pay that. Seriously, I thought about donating my eggs at one point. I really considered it. I was in New York. They were offering like $40,000. I went to NYU's like
just the eggs.
Yeah, to donate your eggs if you're a certain age. If you're in a certain age group. So I went and I did the whole questionnaire, but when I thought about it, I was just like, that could mean there will be a kid walking around this world that could be mine.
You sound like my mom.
It just messed my brain up. I just couldn't do it.
You sound like my mom.
I really thought about donating my eggs.
I was on the college shuttles and I should have done it.
I'm like, I wouldn't.
I thought about doing it, and then also I heard it's very painful. Like it's a really invasive, painful process. I was like, I don't know.
You think?
Being broke will make you.
Yeah.
It'll make you think about doing some things. I really think it was all that debt she incurred.
Instrument going inside me to get a fucking egg. Jesus.
An egg.
Are we done? Quasi's gone? Is it over?
I don't know.
Tired of shit. I don't see Quasi anymore.
Yeah. I don't know.
Recording.
Quasi got canceled. So it's in this shit.
We cancel Quasi.
It is a little late. I'm getting tired.
I think I'm gonna go drink myself to sleep.
Hey, I've been
All
there.
night.
I've been
Sounds
there.
like a plan.
Yeah, like, oh, you know what? Pass out.
It's the bourbon for me.
Oh, dang. That's gonna be good sleep. Yeah, that's that. Yeah. You're gonna sleep good. Oh, Sean's saving his bullet burning.
Woodford.
Now, I was doing Jim Beam, but my sister was like, that's really low budget, so I stopped.
Oh, dang. Your sister was like, step your Murphy.
That is me. I'm very economical.
Right.
I don't like being judged either.
Same.
Does the good stuff taste better? Is it worth it?
I mean, it does taste better. Just like I was 1800.
It feels better.
I was gonna say you're probably
Does your
not.
body like it more?
It's less likely. You're less likely to feel hungover or whatever. Like you probably won't.
Yeah, that's the main benefit with cheaper and top shelf is you feel less fucked up like the next day, probably.
Yeah, you
But
wake
Jim
up
Beam
like.
is also like water. It's not very potent.
Also, the taste of it isn't like.
Like Evans, like all that cheap bourbon, it's not really like bad. Like it doesn't make me feel hungover. It's just like not as like I have to drink a lot of it.
Oh,
It's not as
okay.
potent. Okay.
So it's the alcohol percentage is